With 18 freshmen, Temple women's soccer is quite youthful. But that doesn't mean this squad isn't well-traveled. Case in point, Phoebe Holland, the freshman fullback, spent 7 years in the Manchester United organization before coming to North Broad.
It's just a championship environment, like everyone's just trying to push each other to do the best that we can do together.
It's not Panama.
Holland won league titles in 2018 and 19 with United's U16 side. Valuable pedigree for Nick Boquette's youngsters.
One of the bigger things that she's brought to the team, along with the other internationals, is a diversity of thought when it comes to the game, right? And if you grew up in the UK, you learned the game in a different way.
Holland is one of 3 international players on Boquette's team. In the fall, she played the second most minutes of any true freshman. It's an example of a young squad growing up quickly as the Owls try to improve on their 5-8-3 record from the fall.
We're employing younger players to take a leadership role, and some of them have really stepped up, and that's been super awesome to see.
Nick did well with recruiting our class, but Nick also emphasises that age doesn't matter when it's on the field. If you're good enough, then you're old enough.
While there's plenty of room to grow, the side has already established a sense of camaraderie.
A lot of the team is super close. I mean, a lot of my best friends are on this team.
We spend a lot of time together. If we're not on the field together, then we're off the field together. So I think having that relationship on and off the field really helps us do well.
Holland and the Owls host Towson on Friday. From the Temple Sports Complex, Vik Raghupathi, Owl Sports Update. Philadelphia has long been in love with the game of basketball. But it's no secret that to truly capture the city's heart, you have to win. And winning is what Herb Magee does best. The legendary coach has racked up over 1,100 victories at what is now Thomas Jefferson University. Back when it was Philadelphia Textile, Magee led his alma mater to the 1970 Division II National Championship in just his 3rd year at the helm. But it didn't look like Philly Textile was heading for that storybook finish when it lost 2 of its first 3 games.
Coming back on the bus, the players came up to the front of the bus and grabbed me and said, "Coach, don't worry about it, we're not losing again." And people have said that before, but I said, "Okay, fellas, I'm with you." So, boom, here we go. We go off and we won 28, 29 straight games. And we ran roughshod through the NCAA tournament, beat everybody by an average of 20 points. They were the ultimate team. That's the way they were. They were just wonderful young men.
Just 2 years later, in 1972, it was another small school in the Philly area that grabbed the national spotlight. This time, it was on the women's side, and it began from the humblest of backgrounds.
Immaculata, first of all, was an all-girls Catholic school. Their gym had burned down. So we didn't have a gym, and all of our games that first year were on the road. So just to sort of give you an idea, we would have practice, and don't envision buses. I would sit there with my team and go, "Okay, do you have a ride? Do you have a ride? We'll all meet at wherever we're playing."
The Mighty Macs may not have had a gym, but they had talent, including a future 1,000-point scorer and 3-time All-American.
I'm watching several of these girls play, and I went home that night and said to my husband, I have Jerry West in girl sneakers. I mean, this one player was so impressive. Her name is Teresa Shank Grentz. Great coaches are made by great players. And she was the greatest player of that era. She was 72-2 when she played, 3 national championships. There's lots of other players that do not have those accomplishments.
That's right. From 1972 to 74, Kathy Rush, Teresa Shank Grentz, and the Mighty Macs won 3 straight NAIA national championships. After their 3rd title, the Mighty Macs would go on to play in front of the first national television audience for a women's basketball game. And during their dominant run, Immaculata became one of the hottest tickets in the Philly area.
Basketball had always been a big-time thing at the Palestra, the Big Five, and it was important to the city. At the time Immaculata was winning, a lot of the Philadelphia college pro teams weren't doing great. So all of a sudden, here comes Immaculata, wins a national championship out of nowhere. And, our games became happenings. We were getting publicity, we were winning, and people would say, "Hey, I'm going to go take a look at this Immaculata team."
Perhaps what made Coach Magee and Coach Rush's runs of success so special was the fact that they brought national acclaim to the place they came from. The same can be said of Tyrone Garland, the hero behind the game-winning shot that took LaSalle to the Sweet 16 back in 2013.
Yeah, growing up in Philly, I've been playing ball since I was 2 years old, so it's basically like been my destiny to play basketball. Like I had the ball in my hand since I was a little kid, and growing up in Southwest Philly, it was just basketball. That's all I knew, day and night.
Garland graduated from John Bartram High School, the starting point for NBA players like Hall of Famer Earl the Pearl Monroe and fellow LaSalle alum Jelly Bean Joe Bryant. After beginning his collegiate career at Virginia Tech, Garland came back home to an Explorers team where he saw the potential for a special run.
I saw from the summertime, like the practices, you could tell 3-hour practices only seem like 1 hour when you having so much fun with your teammates and we hung out. So once you get that bond with your teammates and knowing y'all all on the same chain, who knows what could happen.
What happened was the Explorers' most successful season since the days of Tom Gola. After winning a play-in game, then upsetting Kansas State in Kansas City, Garland and LaSalle had their date with destiny against Ole Miss in the round of 32. Before the game, as he watched Ohio State's Aaron Kraft beat Iowa State with a game-winning 3, Garland's cousin Byrne advised him to implement the Southwest Philly floater to avoid getting his shot blocked. Sure enough, with the game knotted at 74 and LaSalle holding the final possession, Garland saw his opening.
Going in, we knew we was going to go at 6 and we was going to switch sides at 10. So that's how the play went down, and the rest is history. It's a great name, great shot, great interview. This is a classic for Philadelphia history and basketball.
Thanks, Josh. Well, Taniki and Marissa aren't the only track stars entering this weekend on a high note. My first pick to keep an eye on is sprinter Shelby Elam. It's been a strong season wire to wire for Elam. She posted her 60-meter dash PR of 7.67 seconds in the season opener. And in the finale in Boston, she was under 0.02 of a second off that time. Good enough for a 4th-place finish. And we've seen my second pick on this show before, pentathlete Sophia Galati. I don't know if there's a harder working individual on the entirety of Temple's campus. The ROTC cadet will do battle with the class of the American after posting her personal best of 33.81 points at Columbia Challenge earlier this month. Again, the conference meet is a 2-day deal starting Friday down in Birmingham, Alabama. That's a wrap on Vic's picks. Back to you, Josh. Hi, Ray. Yes, let's talk about the future of Temple women's basketball in a post-Mia Davis era. You touched on it earlier, but Anaya Gordine was remarkable in her freshman season. Fitting, considering she, like Davis, came to North Broad via St. Francis. The triple-double was a foreign concept to Owls women basketball before Gordine notched 2 of them last month. Plus, she hounded offenses to the tune of 2 steals a game. I'd like to see Gordine improve on her 37% clip from the field, but she is a precocious player, and the future is bright for her in cherry and white. Ray, back to you at the desk.